Hey guys, Stamina here, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be going over how pros default on the T side of Ancient. But before we do, let's have a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is an automated Counter-Strike 2 trading site that provides an instant way to get new skins. One of my favorite things about Skins Monkey is that I can take skins that I no longer want and trade up for a better skin at equal value. If you use code STAMINA, you can get up to a $5 bonus on your first trade. You can also use Skins Monkey to purchase skins, and if you top up your balance, you can get a 35% bonus. So head over to Skins Monkey today to make your first trader's purchase. Now back to the video. The first default I'm going to go over is the slow mid take. Now this is usually going to be a 3-2 split, 2 guys outside of B main, 3 guys outside of mid. And the concept is really simple. CTs have the advantage in mid. They're going to run down mid with elbow smokes, and typically CTs are going to smoke you double door at the same time. And they're going to be able to control this entire part of the map, and you're going to say, that's okay. Now the concept, is usually going to revolve 2 smokes around elbow from the CTs and 2 smokes around door, because they usually want to hang on to this map control. But if they stop smoking, you should look to speed up your take. And what we're doing is we're forfeiting this area of the map because we know that they have the positional advantage and their utility is going to kind of like stuff us out, and it's really difficult for us to fight. So what we're typically going to see is we're going to see a guy outside of mid throw an early round catbox molly like this, so that the CTs can't just rush up catwalk and instantly have any information. This is going to kind of just like fake that we're doing any of our other defaults. And typically we're going to throw a house smoke from spawn. Again, just to fake that we're, doing a potential mid take or potential B hit or whatever the case might be. Now, if the CTs don't respect this, they'll figure out that we're not actually doing anything, and that's okay, but you want every round to look the same. Now, once we're ready to take mid control, you're typically going to see a house smoke thrown like this, and you're typically going to see another player look to throw a Molotov for wood like this, and you're going to have a third guy throwing some support flashes to take mid like so. And I missed that molly, I just didn't run far enough, it seems. And it's going to look something like this. Okay, now simultaneously those 2 guys outside of B are actually going to look to retake. You're going to have one guy throw a Molotov like this. This is going to clear this wood cubby, and you're going to have another guy outside of here throwing a support flash like this over top of the ramp, which will blind anybody playing in this corner, ramp, or peeking B from catwalk. Now, because you're taking B main control and mid at the same time, there's basically nothing these players on cat can do. They're either fighting you mid or they're fighting B, and either which way they look, they're blind. Okay, and you're kind of coming out B main and mid at the same time. Now, once we have mid control, we typically are going to look toward taking red control, taking donut control, or faking one of those 2 things and actually going back toward B or going back toward A. So if you're going to take donut, what we're seeing a lot is we're seeing a player jump up on catwalk, and they'll throw like a little simple flash like this, and this will blind any opper that's on this angle. Okay, and then usually you're gonna have a player down mid, Molotov back donut off that flash, and now we're kind of able to clear this area of the map. If you want to take red, typically what teams will do is they'll still throw donut utility, and then they'll just work their way toward red. And they either come in here to do like an A split, which you could do by throwing a smoke like this from close, which will land right here, or they look to just get a lurker in here to kind of cut rotates, and they regroup to A or B. That's pretty much the slow mid default. Now the B players are going to continue their progression as normal. They're going to come up, look to take cheetah control. A really common flash that teams use is they'll throw a flash like this, aiming over from the box to about here, throwing a W jump throw, and this will blind anybody playing inside a cheetah to allow this rifler to kind of clear inside of here. And if you wanted to kind of progress through cheetah into cave, teams will often use a Molotov like this to Molotov pillar to kind of separate the B site players from cave. And now this guy who's in cheetah can throw a flash off the wall, kind of peek with it, clear these corners, and take cave as your teammates are progressing through mid. And this kind of allows you to have full map control. Now, the one thing that I will advise you is when you're doing a default like this that's slow, you should already have the end goal in mind. So if you're looking to take donut control, maybe be ready to also split A. If you're looking to get a guy into red, maybe you already have your players transitioning up catwalk to end B, whatever the case might be, because you're not going to have as much time since that late mid control is coming around that 1 minute mark. So the next default is going to be a little bit similar, but it's going to be a lot quicker. So the concept is pretty simple. We're going to throw that same house smoke from the start of the round, And we're going to have our mid defaulter throw this cat Molotov again to make sure that nobody can be up catwalk. But this time, we're actually going to break their mid smoke and explode out mid. So you're typically going to have 4 people around mid, and you're just going to leave one sole B lurker here just to kind of watch the ramp and tell you guys what is happening toward the B bomb site. Now, in CS2, we know that we can break smokes, and because teams are throwing this elbow smoke, teams are throwing an HE grenade like this. Now, this HE grenade will break the smoke and give you vision as you're coming out mid. And if you pair this with some flashes over the top like so, you have a really strong mid tick. So typically, we'll get that house smoke from spawn, cat box molly. We'll have a player set up a Molotov for that mid wood cubby. And we'll throw the mid molly at the same time that we're throwing the flash as we're throwing this HE. And we'll just kind of break this smoke, and we'll come out mid with 3 and look to fight them. And the timing here is really important. You want to do this as your cat box molly is fading, because even though that denies CTs from jumping up initially, once they don't see a threat mid, they'll typically still look to jump up here and maybe support one another with like a flash. So if you wait for this molly to fade, you can catch them in that transition where they're no longer looking at mid and now they're looking at catwalk. And this is a really great way to take mid control. And from here, everything plays out the same. You're looking to take donut or red, looking to A split or B split, looking to get up catwalk. And just keep in mind, anytime you take an early mid control, typically CTs are going to leave the B bomb site, leave the A bomb site, and come converge on mid to try to get information back, because it's the best way that they can. So if you see this situation happening in your matches, a great call would be to actually break the mid smoke, get out mid, fight anybody here, and then just instantly transition into a B hit while those CTs are actually looking to regroup and clear mid, because then they'll be weak at whatever bomb site you choose. So the next default is also based around mid control. You can see the trend here. Mid is very important, but this one is a little different. It's fast, but it's actually coming from catwalk in the B bomb site. So what you're going to typically see is you're going to see 2 guys come toward mid, and you're still going to have a guy molly that cat box like normal, but this time he's going to look to break this mid smoke around the same time his teammates are getting towards cat, and he's going to come out mid with them as they're rushing off catwalk. Now what we're going to get is we're going to get a house smoke from spawn from one of the players, and we're going to get a smoke for Cheetah. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. I originally saw this concept from Bet Boom, and they would throw this smoke, and this has become pretty common. It lands really quickly into Cheetah here, and it allows you to just kind of rush off catwalk and fight mid. But Rops also created a pretty cool lineup where you can come to the edge here, aim like so, and jump throw, and this smoke will land inside the roof of Cheetah, giving you a deeper smoke that you can actually lurk around. It's really cool because if you come in here, it kind of gives you like a one-way on this back wall, and you can kind of see over it and potentially find a pretty cheeky kill. Now, you're typically going to have 3 people toward B. One guy is going to just hold the B ramp like typical. This might be one of the people that you want to smoke house or Cheetah. And then 2 players are going to rush mid. And as they get here, that second guy outside of mid is actually going to throw a mid flash like this, which will blind anybody playing this donut area as you're rushing off catwalk. And now you have taken mid control at a faster timing without having to break the mid smoke, and they cannot be up catwalk. So you typically catch players who are looking at mid, worried about this. Meanwhile, you're just rushing catwalk, and you're able to just kind of like fight them underneath you with some supportive utility and a player coming out middle. Now, typically in a default like this, again, you're going to look to do the exact same concepts. Take donut, take red, regroup to A or B, whatever the case might be, and just kind of continue your map progression. But because we're actually rushing catwalk, we have the ability to take Cheetah very quickly in this scenario. So you're actually able to control more map. You're able to control more of the map earlier into the round, and it'll set you up into better late round situations. But just keep in mind that if you do this default, you are using a bit more utility from the start of the round, and you kind of need it to work. So you kind of want to call this when you think the players are rushing down mid and actually playing to fight mid. So the last types of defaults that we have are the extremity defaults, and the concept with extremity defaults is pretty simple. You want to put pressure on either the bomb sites to allow an easier time taking mid control, and you're actually doing more with less. So we're going to talk about the A extremity default. It's pretty simple. Usually going to have 3 guys towards A, 1 guy watching mid, and 1 guy watching B like we showed before. That B player is okay with giving B main. The mid player is okay with doing nothing mid. Here in this concept, we're going to clear A main, and once we get close A main, we're going to throw a little bit of an A fake here. Now, I should mention that throwing a house smoke and throwing that cat box molly to kind of like fake what you're doing is really important because you want to mask these ideas. And typically what you're going to see is you're going to see players throw a smoke like this for spawn, a molly like this for default, and sometimes they'll molly like this for temple. I missed it a little bit off the wall there. And then they're going to throw some flashes out and try to like get out A main. Now, if there is a player playing toward A, they're typically going to dump their utility in fear that you're hitting the bomb site. They might molly you main. Maybe they even drop a lurk smoke. But in the process, you're typically going to get one of those mid players to just run toward donut to support, or even fall back from red and come back toward the A bomb site because they kind of need to respect this A hit. Because you're pulling so many people away from mid, now once you actually want to progress out mid, you can use a lot less utility. You don't need to molly this cubby. House may already be smoked from the early round, but even if it's not, you can re-smoke it. And now you can kind of like come out mid and look for some different fights that you wouldn't get otherwise. Some teams will use this extremity default very consistently because they hate going out mid and having to face so many people there. So it's great for that. Now, one thing that you might also see yourself getting into is a situation where when you're throwing this utility, you're not actually facing counter utility, and there's no CTs actually playing here. That's because a lot of teams will opt to do a 2 mid and a 3 B setup, which would mean that everybody has to rotate in from donut. So if they're in this situation, then you can actually just end A because you already have 3 people here. Most people will have the third guy A main carry the bomb just in case they actually want to commit to this bomb site, and they can just quickly swivel into an A hit. And you have an active lurker toward mid and an active lurker toward B. Now, alternatively, you can do a B extremity default. And how teams usually do this is they'll throw a house smoke and they'll just leave one guy outside of mid to kind of watch mid, throw this cat box molly like normal, and then kind of like hold for any A main pushes, right? And while they're forward toward B, there's a couple cool things that are done here. So Astralis is commonly known for throwing this nade set. They'll smoke short, they'll Molotov pillar, and they'll flash over B. And while they're doing this, they'll typically put their Opera up here on the boost, and he'll kind of look for this line. And now this kind of pressure here is making the player who plays in Cheetah feel like it's a B hit. So often he'll leave Cheetah and come back toward cave and be ready for any sort of B hit. Sometimes this will pull a rotate off of mid toward B as well. And they'll shift in kind of like a 3-1-1. Now this could allow for this mid defaulter to actually look to take mid on his own with fairly little utility. And while you're doing this, you're actually looking to put a ton of pressure on B and take Cheetah control without really having to face anybody in here. So some teams will actually look to contact into Cheetah. And if they get into Cheetah like this pillar molly actually separates players from the B bomb site from cave. So if you got into the situation where you have a molly up here and you flash off this wall, you can actually look to flash and kind of fight in here. And you can know that nobody's going to peek you from this entrance. Some teams will actually even re-molly the pillar in this situation just so that they have that up for a longer period of time so they can continue this progression. Now, if you just do this as a default, 1, you'll be readable, but 2, it won't work that well because it's not really going to pull rotates. You need it to pull rotates because they're actually fearing that you can do a B hit. So something that Astralis would do often is when they had device on this box, they would actually look to walk a couple players up the ramp, knowing that they have support with a short smoke and a pillar molly. And then you could actually have that 4th guy just look to throw some flashes like this. These were made really popular by Heroic when we were playing Go. And they land over top of this pillar, not blinding us as we come up ramp, but they blind anybody playing, you know, this cave off angle after the molly fades. They blind anybody playing from first, and they blind anybody playing from second. So these really allow you to take into the bomb site. And I do believe they might even blind this guy who's playing wood. No, they don't really blind the guy wood, but he is a really easy right eye peek. So it's pretty easy to take into the bomb site. So if you can actually find a good consistency with how you're calling this, maybe you look to do like an early round B hit like this, and later on when you throw this utility, it's going to pull those rotates because they really think you're hitting B. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate all of your guys' support recently. It's been amazing. And I have just 2 more videos for the How to Default series, and we'll finish that up. I'm looking for more ideas for different videos you guys would like to see. So leave me some ideas in the comments below. And until next time, peace out, guys.